Now, a woman from Aberdeenshire who chose to end her own life in the Netherlands recorded a plea for more to be done for people with severe ME in her final days. Edina Slayter-Engelsman was diagnosed with chronic fatigue syndrome in 2020 and became confined to bed soon after. As a Dutch national, she took the decision to end her life through assisted euthanasia, which is legal there, because of what she said was the unbearable suffering of living with ME, which she compared to being tangled in a spider's web.
Every time you try and get out of that, it's the web just gets tighter and tighter around you. And that's happened over the 4 years until I, just really can't move very much. And this condition has become unbearable to me and has been for a long time now. To the point that I now want to end my life.
So what is ME and just how much is known about it? Well, I've been speaking to Professor Chris Ponting from Edinburgh University, who's leading the biggest study on ME in the world.
ME is a devastating condition with about 250,000 people or more in the UK having it. It's far worse than many other diseases in terms of the health quality of life. It's devastating. About 2/3 of people record having had an infection just before their ME symptoms started, but 1/3 do not. It's a complete mystery as to what's going on with people with ME, and it's really hard to diagnose. And there's so much work that needs to be done to work out how to diagnose people and what's actually going wrong with them.
Is ME then a kind of post-viral syndrome, almost like long COVID or something?
ME is a post-viral syndrome for about 2/3 of people, but not for a third of people. There are similarities with long COVID. People with long COVID, maybe half of them have similar symptoms. And so it could be and probably is that about 1 million people have ME-like symptoms in the UK.
And we know, as many people are familiar now with long COVID, that there doesn't seem to be any really clear path of treatment. How do you treat ME?
I'm not a clinician, but what people tell me is that there's a lot of confusion about how people are treated. Despite the revised NICE guidelines, sometimes people are advised to increase their activity levels, and that I'm told is not what people should do. They should pace. But indeed, there is no common ground really across the medical profession as to what should be done for all of these people with such a devastating condition.
So that means people are left not really having an obvious route of treatment. And I suppose also people tend to have the suspicion when there's no clear diagnosis either in many cases that, it's a kind of malingerer's problem.
It's horrific when people have that attitude towards people with ME. In the past, and maybe even in the future, it was, because it's strongly biased towards females thought of as being some type of hysteria. That's what the early literature from doctors said. It is not. We can see ME in the blood of people with ME. It is an organic disease that people need to take incredibly seriously.
But funding and research into this disease is lagging well behind others.
Indeed, yes. I mean, funding per person with ME per year is about £2 or £3, which is almost nothing for a country that is spending about £70-80 a year per person on research and development.
So you're looking into ME, you're carrying out the biggest study in the world. What exactly are you trying to find out about it?
We're trying to find out what the root causes are of ME through looking at people's DNA and seeing what DNA differences are more common in people with ME than in the population in general. And that is not going to tell us immediately what is wrong with each and every person, but it will tell us as a community what to study next. Because it may be that we should only be focusing on the mitochondria, the powerhouse of the cell, or in the nervous system or the immune system. And really, at the moment, we don't have a strong piece of evidence, and that's why we're doing the genetics work.
Professor Chris Ponting from Edinburgh University.